Lend your ears, lend your hands, lend your movement, anything you can. Come to teach, come to be taught, come in the likeness and the image of God. 'Cause you can be like that, with all that humbleness and all that respect. All of the power invested in me.
Steph and I have been passionate about setting up an intentional community for the last 6 years. We got very close about 4 or 5 years ago. We found 100 acres of amazing land near Mount Warning, a little bit further out from Mount Warning. And it was a former permaculture training facility. So it had had woofers on there for the last 12 or 15 years. So there had been hundreds of thousands of hours of man-hours put in for irrigations and farms. There was about 5 dwellings on it. We held a little meeting on the Gold Coast for interested parties for our database. Obviously our database wasn't as big back then. We thought maybe 20 or 30 people might turn up. We had 140 people turn up to a little hall in Hope Island. And we got very close. We started to negotiate, and the vendor pulled it off the market because he spent 8 hours with us talking about the shit that could be hitting the fan soon, and he decided to keep the farm. Anyway, are you going to run the slides? Now, I'm absolutely winging it here. AB turned up this morning. He said, "Oh, I'm so excited, Mark. I've done a whole PowerPoint for you." I have no idea what's coming. Do you want to click the slide?
Are you ready?
I don't know. I tell you, because when I did this talk, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago, we were going through and talking about, community and what it could be with group activities, and a scene of a whole heap of naked people came up. And I had no idea it was coming. I don't know what group activities you're into, AB. But anyway.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I told you, everything that comes out of his mouth is usually bullshit, and that was, so there you go.
All right, click away. Okay, we've got a Facebook page for this, which is, click it again, I think it's, here, I'm going to run it. You're making me nervous.
Good luck.
Which is Global Awakenings Community. So if you want to follow what we're doing, you can do that on that Facebook page there. The intention of the community. Okay, so we're looking at establishing 30 families. So far, it's taken us, since we got back from the UK, we were living in the UK for a while, setting things up over there. We've been back 14 months, and in that 14 months, we've gone through a process of setting up what we call a steering committee. There needs to be a foundation moving forward. So we started out with about 30 or 40 people. That's now come down to 9. So we have 9 people in the steering committee, and we're now writing mission statements, constitutions, all those sorts of things that we think are really important in moving forward. There's got to be a vision for setting up an intentional community, and there can be millions of them. We're just setting up what we think works. But it's about living in harmony. We're all individuals, aren't we? We live in our little houses. We have a little nervous wave on Thursday morning as we're putting the wheelie bin out. We don't really know who our neighbours are or what their troubles are, and so we really want to change that and demonstrate something different. I want to say here, it's not running away. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're running away." We're not running away. We're running towards. If you don't think that issues are going to come up, and ego, and ownership, and all those sorts of things, then you're fucking mistaken, because they've already come up in setting up the steering committee. But it's been... Is there a trap door? Mikey, is there a trap door? So, yeah, we feel we're running towards. And, a lot of people say that about Vipassana too. "Oh, you're going for a 10-day holiday." Go and try it. So we are running towards. All right, what have you got in store for me now? So we've been looking around for quite some time, and we've located 650 amazing acres of land near Mount Warning. It's actually called Mount Birrell. It's probably about 25 minutes from Wollongbar is the nearest town. Yukai is only about 5 or 10 minutes away, I think.
It's pretty close to Nimbin, for those of you who know Nimbin. I know most of you do out there, I can tell.
Mardi Gras. So it's absolutely spectacular. For those of you that don't know, has anybody here climbed Wollongbar? Yeah, that's the Aborigines' name for it. We shouldn't really even be calling it Mount Warning. It's a very sacred place. Only men are supposed to climb it, and they're supposed to seek the acknowledgement or the approval of the local mob, actually. I've climbed it about 30 times. It's absolutely an incredible area. But that whole caldera is a very sacred place. There's a lot of crystals in the ground, and there's a lot of stories that I could go on about. But it's for anybody who's been there, it's absolutely beautiful. A couple of pictures there. This is the actual property here. This is an inspection we did quite a few months ago, and it was a really dry patch. But as you can see, it's still quite beautiful. So That's the water hole. You know, a lot of real estate agents say, oh, it's got a water hole, and you get there and there's a creek. You know, but this is an iconic. It's actually doesn't do it justice there. It's a huge water hole with a waterfall, and it's very deep. So
I did it at 4:30 this morning, so that's why.
So it's gorgeous. There's a working timber mill, if you can see there, and it's actually working. It's got like a 1940s diesel motor that's still chugging along, so we can actually mill our own timber. So moving forward. If you're interested, there's a feedback form, and by the way, a lot of people took it yesterday and filled it out and gave it to Cherie, and then they're asking for it back because they want to tick more boxes. So if you've given it back, then you can fill in a new one. All you have to do is simply tick the box, and we'll send you an expression of interest document, which will explain what we're intending to set up.
And it's not first in, best dressed by any stretch. As Mark said, we started with 30, and we didn't whittle them down. They essentially just sorted themselves out and realised it wasn't for them, and we're just working with the groups that we actually know we can live with, like Roman said, exactly like the community he does it right now on a smaller scale, and we want to do that on a larger scale. So that's what it is. So please, if you're interested, get the form in, and then we'll go through the whole process, and you've got to work out if you want to live with us as much as we want to live with you.
Are you guys interested in a few nuts and bolts, like what we're paying for the land and what? Yep, okay. So it's a deceased estate. It's been in the family since 1900. The homestead on there was built in 1900 exactly. So there's roughly 275 acres at the front that's on Tweed River. So it's got fresh water out of the Tweed River. It's right at the top end, and another 375 acres at the back. The views of the land are absolutely breathtaking. We did an inspection. Is Blair here? Blair? Yeah, Blair came out. I mean, isn't it? Every valley and hill you walk over. We went there. It was funny. We did the inspection, or I did a couple of inspections first, and then we let the real estate agent know that there was a few interested parties. So we had about 20 people turn up.
At least,
and so we're up at the homestead, and it's a 600-metre bitumen driveway up to the homestead, and there's 20 cars coming up, and he looked at me and he said, "Are you Amish?" I said, "Yes."
We said, yeah.
So we were inspecting it, and seriously, every hill you walk over, it's just like, wow, it's absolutely stunning. There's the border ranges there, Mount Warning is right there, so it's absolutely spectacular. So it's a deceased estate. There are 11 beneficiaries. Anybody tried to purchase off But look, we've managed to negotiate the price of 1.2, which, if anyone knows that area, 1.2 is an extraordinary price for 650 amazing acres. We have been trying to negotiate a 4-month settlement so that we've got time to form the rest of the family. So we've got 9 in the steering committee. We're looking for 21 extra families, or just 21 groups. We're actually looking for a few elders. You know, I think communities need elders to provide that wisdom and stability so that we don't have to listen to him all day.
And so I'll interject right now. For everyone who is interested about Mark McMurtry's philosophies and OSTF and where that's going, and we don't use the term, or he's a strawman name, Mark McMurtry, it's OSTF, or Gunambadi is his original name. And
what's OSTF? People might not know.
Original Sovereign Tribal Federation. I explained that yesterday during my talk, but obviously you weren't here or not listening. So that being the case, is we've actually invited Gunam and to come onto the land, and we're actually going to treaty with the local Aborigines, and it will be our land, like our tribal land. Okay, so when we treaty with them and we join.
He's already approached the local mob, and we're going to name... So we're going to buy this in a private trust, and you'll know a little bit more about it after the break when we talk about that. We're going to buy it in a private trust, but with a company as the trustee. So any registered entity, even though we're under those ancient Roman laws, we need to tick those boxes first. So people will buy shares in the trust, and that will then relate to their plot on the land. So everybody will be given roughly 3 to 10 acres, depending on what you want. And it's interesting, when we all first started, we're like, oh yeah, I'd like 10 acres. You know, no, yeah, we've been doing a lot of research for the last little while, and people that have lived on communities that got their 10 acres were lonely. It wasn't what they wanted. And funny enough, you know, Steph and I live in a little community in Byron Bay. It wasn't ideal. We didn't think it was ideal because it's in a whole townhouse, block of townhouses. But there's lots of young families there, and come 5 o'clock every day, the kids get out and skateboard, or the parents get out and talk and share, and even though we're really close to each other, it's nice. You know, we can even hear a couple fighting and then go up half an hour later and say, hey, you guys okay? You know, like, that's community for us. So it's been really interesting to talk about what size blocks everybody wants. So we're thinking of having 3 pods of 10, and people who want to live in close proximity to one another can live in one pod. People in sort of medium density can live in the other, and people who want the space can live in more space. I mean, there's 650 acres. It's a lot of land. It's a lot. And when you walk it, I mean, it took us 6 hours to inspect the property. There's amazing roads on there already, not bitumen. There's a bitumen road up to the homestead. But what we're looking at doing is on the front 275 acres. If anybody attended our last Freedom Summit, or the big one, you would have met Alf and Marina Orpin from Organic Farm Share. They've set up an organic farm near Kyogle, which is not far from here, and they're really interested in setting up another organic farm share on the front 275 acres, which will be income producing. We also want to set up a health retreat. Because of my background with curing myself of a brain tumour and hanging out with Don Tolman and Tyler Tolman and all that, and Sam and all that sort of stuff, we're very keen to set up a health retreat where people can come for 30 days. Probably most of you will know it takes 3 weeks to break a pattern. So people go to a weekend workshop and by Thursday they're back on the piss and eating sausage rolls. So we want to invite people to come for 30 days and meditate. You know, go and pick like Roman said, go and pick their vegetables out of the garden and be in touch with where their food's coming from. So we're very passionate about it. So if that resonates with you, then you can tick the box and we'll send you an expression of interest. What we're looking at doing, so we're going to raise just under 2 million, buy the place for 1.1, and we'll have the funds there to build a community centre. We want to build a beautiful community centre. It's the hub for everybody to come to, and especially while they're building, to have shower facilities, a kitchen, but moving forward it'll be where we all hang out and be a community again. So
there's also stage 2 potentially as well, where if you know that area out where Mount Warning is and the road out to Nimbin, that's Mount Burrell is the name of the little village, and there is a caravan park and fruit shop, local store,
Sphinx Rock Cafe,
and they have the bands there. And it's it's a real local scene, but that is actually for sale along with the parcel of land, so right next to it. So that could be income producing as well. There's also a service station on it. So yeah, it's a potential stage 2, which we are currently still negotiating.
Yeah, we're negotiating on it. The only issue was, without getting too deep into it, is that the service station, the tanks are 30 years old. So they're going to be up for renewal soon, and EPA are a bastard to deal with. So in terms of dealing with the authority, their purported authorities, being council, that's one of the questions that comes up pretty early, is we're all looking at building earthships. Has anybody watched Garbage Warriors? Oh, we're in the right room. You know, we had a client that had 9,000 tyres delivered to their property along with a cheque for $27,000. Do you realise you can get tyres delivered to your property and a cheque for $3 a tyre to help you along your way? So if you haven't watched it, go to YouTube and watch Garbage Warriors. They build earthships, and these things are amazing. So they're the sorts of things that we're doing. Are they going to be council approved? We don't give a shit about council. We don't give a shit about council. So
when it comes to the council, I think I'll handle the liaison there, if that's okay.
Yeah. So AB and Gun and Buddy will handle that. So we are going to treaty with the local mob. We're going to rewrite what's called an inter vivos trust, a living trust with living beings, not a testamentary trust like all trusts are these days with dead entities, because you're all straw men. When, it's not going to be if, when council come and ask us about the dwellings, we'll be ready. We'll be absolutely ready. Pardon? Foundation can't own property. We'll go through that after the break.
Yeah, we're about to go through all that.
Well, it can in the private world. In the public world, which we're going to have to deal with. If we want to buy this and secure it, then we need to deal with the public side accordingly. So we'll be doing that through a private trust. Yeah, can't. Yeah. So if that's resonating with you, then hang out with us. We're going to do a camp out probably mid-December. We've already done quite a few camp outs, because everyone's on their best behaviour when you first meet them, aren't they? I think it's good to have a few campouts and maybe a couple of beers and watch the true colours come out. And organically, that's worked very well so far. So, yeah, look, the campouts have been great. We're going to do that and we'll move forward for next year. So wish us luck. All right, we're going to take a 15-minute break. Thank you.